So, guys, I went down Saturday to the Days of the Dead horror convention in Atlanta. The first time I've ever went, and it was a fantastic experience. I'm going every year now, from now on, until they don't do it anymore. Hopefully, that is my plan. But I bought some stuff and got some really cool stuff, so I wanted to kind of show that off. Up first, we have 2 Jason masks. This is a Part 6 that was hand painted, and a remake, 2009 remake, that was hand painted. The guy that did it signed it for me in the back here. He plays in Terrifier 2. He has a very small role. He signed both of them. And these were $25 for one, or you can get $40 for 2. So I got 2 of them. $40. But man, I know I had that remake one, that I had before, and it wasn't as good as this is. I mean, on the other one, this kind of flaked off a lot because it was plasticky, sticky stuff. But this seems very well done. And they are the cheap, cheap masks, but the detail on them is awesome. And I should have taken more money. The next time I go, I'm taking more money. Because, dude, there's so much stuff I wanted. I bought these 2 things, and I was like, man, there was 11 other Jason masks I want? And I walked past a dude after I bought these 2 that had a booth of Jason masks that he had created, and they were movie accurate. I mean, I looked at the Jason Goes to Hell one. I looked at it. It looked just like it did in the movie. All the way down to the material it's made of. The straps on the back. All of that. Okay, so there's the masks. 2 for $40. I also bought a shirt for $30. And now we get to some signatures that I got a hold of. First up, we have Tom Matthews, Tommy Jarvis, and Freddy in Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, and Freddy in Return of the Living Dead. And it says, to Jeff, fuck you, Jason, Tom Matthews. I love how he personalized that, and he put that on there for me. That was so cool. Highlight is this here. One highlight. CJ Graham, Jason in Part 6, Jason Lives. Chose this picture. He signed it for me. He didn't personalize it because I didn't ask him to. It says 17 kills. And then here is the highlight. Derek Mears, Jason 2009. Now, what was my experience like meeting each of these individuals? Tom Matthews was, stand-up guy. He was awesome. He talked to me. He listened about all the stuff I wanted to talk about. Took pictures with us, me and my buddy. And we were talking about Jason. We were talking about Return of the Living Dead. And how I grew up watching Jason. I watched it at 6 years old. This one, the one that he made. And he goes, that's too young, man. That's bad parenting. Tell your parents that's bad parenting. Because they let you watch Jason at, 6 years old. And I was like, nah, man, nah. I love Jason. It's my favorite. CJ Graham was a riot, man. He was so fun. Because we get our autographs here, me and my buddy Matt. And he only has PayPal or Venmo or some other thing that you can use. And I was like, damn, man, all I have is a card. He'd already signed the picture for both of us. And he was like, okay, I'll hold on to these for you. Go find an ATM. Come back and pay me. You better bring me my money because I have GPS. I'll find you. And we go all over this hotel, man, trying to find the ATM. We finally get it. We finally find it. And we get the money. We come back to him, right? We pay him for the autographs. And he's like, okay, picture time. Let's take pictures. He takes one with me, just kind of thumbs up, Then he's like, okay, we're going to do another one in case this one's not good enough. That's what he said. And something completely unexpected happened. We're standing there. I've got my arm on his shoulder, and he grabbed a hold of me by my collarbone right here on top of my shoulder and pulls me into him, like, with force, dude. I mean, he really pulled a lot. And my head is, like, pressed against him, like, I'm looking like I'm dying in the picture. And I was like, dude, you can really feel that power that, Part 6 Jason really puts out when he's grabbing someone. Like, I could physically feel that now. It was so surreal to me. But he was very cool. He was very, like, down to earth. He thanked us both for being fans and said, please come back and see me again, And then we get to Derek. Derek Mears is one of the nicest and most awesome people I've ever had the privilege to meet. I mean, I've seen him talking to these people in front of me. And I was like, wow, he's really talking, like maybe he'll be that way the whole time. And I get up there. And he's not sitting there saying, hi, how are you? I walk up to him. He gets up out of his chair, reaches out to shake my hand, and he says, so glad to meet you. I'm so happy that you're here at my table. And I told him, what a great job he did as Jason in the remake there. And he was like, it makes me feel like $1,000,000 when people come up and say that. I'm so happy you enjoyed it. And he told us this story about him and his wife that was pretty crazy, that he would tell me and my buddy Matt this, And he took group photos with me and my buddy Matt. But I won't go into that story because it has to do with him and his wife. But I was like, wow, dude, man, he would talk as long as you want to stand there and talk with him. It was like he had known us his whole life. And he was just so happy and thrilled that we were coming up to get his signature. Now, the signatures are not cheap. But for him, CJ Graham, and Tom Matthews, I had to do it. Just this alone, this was $50 for Derek's. This was $60. So that's $111 or $110, and then $70 for Tom Matthews. That's how much I spent just on signatures alone. And I also met the girl that played Whitney in the remake of Friday the 13th, and I politely went up to her and told her, I can't afford your autograph. I'm really sorry. But I just wanted to come say hello and meet you because I really enjoyed the movie. And she was so nice. She was super sweet. And she told me, that's so sweet of you. I'm so happy to meet you. And she shook my hand. And I told her I'd be back next year. I also met Miguel Nunez from Return of the Living Dead. I had to go and talk to him. I couldn't get an autograph because I only had limited money. I had to go talk to him. And I go up to him and I'm like, dude, I love that movie. It's so awesome. The usual what fans do. And I was like, I can't afford your autograph, man, but I really wanted to come meet you. And I was like, where is Tom Matthews? I want to meet him next. And he said, he's right over there. And I was like, okay, man, I appreciate it. Like I didn't know. I don't know why I asked him that. And he was like, okay, so you can't afford to get my autograph. You're gonna go get Tom Matthews. And I was like, yeah, man, I have to. Like it's a double-edged sword with this movie and Jason. And he was like, that's all right. You go on over there. He's over there. And I go over there and meet him. And then I come back by. And he said, you come back next year, you get my autograph. And I was like, yeah, I'll hold you to that, dude. I'll do it. I'm going to go back next year. If he's there, I'm gonna get Miguel's. I'm gonna get Amanda's from Friday the 13th. And then I had one negative experience. I always wanted to do this. I'd always wanted to meet Tom Savini because I love his makeup effects in part 1, and I think part 4 he did. Yeah, part 4, and also Dawn of the Dead. And I see him sitting there at his table, and I was like, "Oh, Tom Savini! I'm gonna go up and talk to him." And I walk up to the table, looking at the pictures like this that you can get signed. His assistant person says, "I'll take you," And I was like, "Well, I just came over here to meet the man himself." I stick my hand out. "How are you, sir? Glad to meet you. It's a privilege." And he looks at me, closes his hand, and fist bumps me and says, "I have to stay healthy." And I was like, "Okay, I get that. It's cool." And I was like, "Man, I loved your work in Friday the 13th with the effects, and I love the effects in Dawn of the Dead. I watch those movies all the time." And he looks at me and he says, "Good for you." And I was like, I'm just going to go on, dude. I'm just going to walk off because he clearly did not care that I was even in front of him, wanting to talk to him about the movies and how awesome his effects were and stuff like that. He didn't give two shits. He just seemed so like, "Leave me alone. Why are you standing here talking to me?" And it kind of, he was the first person I met, but I saved his story for last. But then I go to CJ. He's over there next to him. And I was like, "Man, I hope CJ's cool." And it was awesome to meet him. It was amazing to stand in front of the first Jason I ever seen as a kid and talk to him. And all the people I met were just awesome. But Derek Mears was the highlight. He felt like you were talking to one of your best friends. It was just so super cool. I advise anyone that sees this to get you some tickets to Dawn of the Dead, or Days of the Dead. Get some tickets for that and go. I don't know why I said Dawn of the Dead, because I'm half asleep. Just got off work. But get you some tickets. I think the weekend pass was like $60 or something like that. Yeah, $60 for a weekend pass. You can rent you a room at the motel. You have full access to the convention all 3 days. If you want to go for just one day, it's like $30. So get you $30 entry fee, and then bring some cash to get vending stuff, because they had all sorts of vendors, and they had a tattoo convention on the 3rd floor. Like, it was super cool. So let's give one more look at the autographs. And I chose this picture because it's from the game, and the game is shut down. Then the masks. So happy over these, man. And they're already getting dust all over the straps. They ain't been hanging up but like a day and a half. Super cool. Anyway, guys, go to Days of the Dead Atlanta. When it comes back next year, usually in February, get you some tickets and go. You won't regret it. They're so much fun. Thanks for watching, folks.